So because I can't even get through this sentence with a straight face, because I'm now clearly a cutting edge football influencer. Right, okay. I'll try that again. I've been sent some shows by Netflix. So on the one hand, I do some film stuff over at Film Stories, and I've been doing football stuff here. And this is one of those rare moments where the streams are crossing a little bit. And I got a message off Netflix asking, do I want to have a look at the 3 new episodes of Untold? And Untold UK, actually. And so because I'm not that organised, I mean, I completely missed the first one, which was about Jamie Vardy, which I've caught up with since. And yeah, I watched it and it was perfectly fine. All very glossy, all very well done. But yeah, I mean, it was all right. If I was a Leicester fan, I think I'd get a lot more out of it. It kind of glossed over some of the darker edges of the story, but also it's a really good story told in a vaguely sanitized way. It's fair enough. I bought enough official Birmingham City videos over the years, and I've watched enough games on Birmingham City's in-house TV show to know that sometimes you just don't rock your own boat. Which brings me to, so the 2 that haven't been broadcast at the time I'm recording this, I'm going to have to do these as 2 separate things. I've seen them, but the deal is you sign this thing that says you can't talk about them till this point. So there's the new one, which is out at the point this goes live, which is Untold UK, Liverpool's Miracle of Istanbul. And for some reason, we want a Birmingham City perspective on that, right? And then the one afterwards is Vinnie Jones. So I'll come to Vinnie Jones, won't say any of it to his face next time. But for the purposes of this, I really like stuff like this. And so I was intrigued by it. And Liverpool's Miracle of Istanbul, I watched the game. It was the 2005 Champions League final. They do all this at the start. It's hardly spoilers, is it? Where Liverpool go 3-0 down and at half-time, and then eventually they win the thing on penalties, right? So the whole I mean, the structure of it is absolutely nailed down to a T, to such a degree that Jamie Carragher comes in at the start and he sort of does this, albeit without the Birmingham City shirt in the back. He trips over something there. But he sort of comes in like this and just says, oh, you filmed this bit now. I've seen these documentaries. You put this bit in just before we start. And they put that bit in just before they start. You're just like, all right, well, I've done it now as well, Jamie. So who's the winner there? That's right. Yeah, all right. And so it sort of, it sets it up. So it's a Netflix show. So, I mean, it goes on for over an hour, about an hour and a quarter, something like that. So in the first 5 minutes, it has to give you the hooks, the things that, you know, all the keywords, all the bits to get you hanging on to the end of the film. And so in this case, they take you to halftime and you get them on camera posing the question, what was said at halftime in that match? Now, that's not an unreasonable question. Apparently, everyone concerned, the thing they're always asked, what did they say at halftime? And so, yeah, fair enough. Then it winds all the way back to about 10, 11 months before England. You've got three Liverpool players in the England camp. You've got Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard, and Jamie Carragher. I just said him as well. He just walked in. And they're all on camera. I mean, and they're talking about how they were in the England camp when they learnt that Gerard Houllier had been sacked as Liverpool manager. Interestingly, the documentary, this film, will not say the words Gerard and Houllier. They'll show you a picture of him, but that's it. That's all you're getting. It makes note of Liverpool hadn't sacked a manager for decades. Well, they do it again fairly soon. Hi, Roy. But they just don't name him. It's all a bit weird. But it's interesting because then they introduce Rafa Benitez. I won't go through the thing in exhaustive detail because you watch it if you want to watch it. But they get various people on camera, ranging from Neil Mellor, is on camera briefly. You got Jamie Carragher is there quite a lot. Rafa Benitez, for instance, Jim Traore's in there, and pretty much all the people you expect they get there, and that person who's just texting me there. And the idea is they tell you the 10-month build up to one football match. Now, personally, I got to a point where I thought I'd rather just watch the football match at this stage, because you're dragging this out. And I know how the Netflix algorithm works, and well, I don't, but logging like viewer hours and stuff like that, and engagement and things. But it's quite hard when you make something like this and everybody knows the ending, you know. We could go on at any point. We could cut away from this, go onto YouTube, just watch the highlights of the match. Highlights of the match are great. So it's got to have something. It's got to have something to warrant this untold tag. And in truth, most of the stuff they're untelling us, we've been told before. There's actually that's the disappointment, really. You bill it as untold, and then you play the hits a little bit. So there's quite a lot of that. But there are interesting little things in here. And in particular, I thought the stuff in and around Rafa Benitez, a bit of an enigma as a football manager, not really seen as the most charismatic of people, who is brought into Liverpool. And it's stuff like he goes to the England camp to meet Gerrard, Carragher and Owen to try and convince them all to stay. And the way that that meeting goes is discussed from all sides. It results in Michael Owen leaving. He went off to Real Madrid at that point. But it's interesting that, and again, I'll leave you to discover the nuances. My aim isn't to ruin these things other than, they won. I mean, they won. We know this. Penalties, they won. There's occasional nuggets like that in the midst of it all that I'm just like, oh, okay, that's interesting. There's quite a lot about the circus around Steven Gerrard. Would he, wouldn't he leave the club at that point? Jose Mourinho's Chelsea were basically trying to tap him up how out of character, roughly around this time. And there's the whole, they nearly went out of the Champions League, which I completely forgot, because do you know what? I'm not a Liverpool fan. I remember Darren Anderton scoring for the Blues against Liverpool, but I'm not a Liverpool fan. Pretty much all of this all of it could have gone out on the Liverpool in-house football channel. There is no edge to this at all, really. There's nothing contentious. Even looking back 20 years later, I would imagine you could go into a little bit more of the stuff around the edges, but it doesn't really do that. And so you kind of sat with something that's relatively entertaining, but it's edited as if it's like the bloody Traitors in that. So can you imagine being the editor of the Traitors, where the footage you get makes it really, really obvious what's going to happen? And so you have to edit the hell out of it, put in some conflict and some drama and something extra on top of what otherwise would be a fairly obvious they're going to go moment. And so they kind of edit. It's all very well done. It's really well packaged. The people behind it know exactly what they're doing. They do it well. But it's just like they try and build it up through, I don't know, it's quite hard to explain without spoiling it, but it almost feels like there's just conflicts where there aren't really that many conflicts. Footage is edited in a way to make it look like they're being hammered all the time, and they weren't being hammered all the time. And it reminded me, right, in Northfield, here in glamorous Birmingham, there used to be a shop called Be Wise, right? And Be Wise just sold furnishing and stuff. It was in the Grosvenor precinct. It's not called that anymore. But I remember getting a football video. It was the only one I could afford, £2.99 on VHS. And I remember it just being kind of like a bit of I can't even remember what the video was per se, but I do remember all the football had to be footage on the pitch, all stylishly done and stuff like that. Stylish in the 80s was very different to stylish in the 2020s. It's much better. You can actually see what's happening in the 2020s. But then it was just, it was a kind of A to B product, really. And there are real elements of that to what we're getting in here. There are a couple of exceptions. I think Didi Hammond comes in and he's really I mean, I could have watched him talk me through all of this and been far more engaged than watching like Stephen Gerrard or Jamie Carragher talk about something they've been interviewed about a lot. You get one or two players around the squad. I mean, Neil Mellor, a really interesting inclusion. I don't know what he comes up for one bit, and I know why he comes up. Michael Owen. I mean, the question there is like, do you regret leaving then? No, because you left at that point, but he just disappears. And that's that. I mean, again, nobody is rocking the boat here at all. It does, though, to its credit, in the end, answer what happened at half time. The problem is with this, it's hardly like what's in the suitcase in Pulp Fiction. It's not that level of revelation. But to that degree, it does tell you one or two things that were untold. But other than that, I mean, you look at the trailer for it, you think, oh, that will be a perfectly reasonable retelling of Liverpool's European Cup win in the 2000s. And you know what it is? A perfectly reasonable retelling with a little bit of added colour in there of Liverpool's European Cup win in the 2000s. It's that. It doesn't rock any boats at all. It's not trying to offend anyone. It's not trying to upset anyone. It won't even say the words Gerrard and Houllier. It's fine. It's really well done. It's fine. Give me a documentary on Blues doing the double over Birmingham City once upon a time. I'll be all over that.